Hi, I'm Alan. This is Alan's Firearms and Guns Plus More. Today is the Kahr CW380. And yes, it is a minigun. Very tiny. Now, this has been on the market for a while. Matter of fact, Kahr, I think, was the third one to put out a firearm like this. You had Kel-Tec was the first, and Robar, of course, but that was a $1,200 handmade gun. And then you had Ruger copying the Kel-Tec 14 years later, which spurred the whole 380 craze. And Taurus came out pretty close to that after that. And somewhere, I think, between a little after or a little before the Taurus, Kahr came out with this beauty. And this was in the $600 or $700 range at the time. They took the high end. Everybody else was trying to make the gun better than the Kel-Tec, but they wanted to keep that lower enough price point to get the average man to buy this gun. Whereas Kahr took a little different approach. Their gun was $500, $600 gun. It feels really nice in your hand. I always felt it had a weird trigger pull. When I pull the trigger, my finger pulls down against the trigger guard, and I've been told by a lot of people it doesn't bother them. It works great for them, and I've heard some other people say the same thing I said. It's not a comfortable trigger pull. This one has a glow front sight and a single dot rear sight. I'll show you that at the workbench, and it's a pretty small little gun. The 380 is a nice round. It vectors the recoil nicely, but it still has plenty of recoil because the gun is size. So, without any further ado, let's take this puppy to the workbench, field strip it, clean it, lube it, and put it back together again. Okay, so here we are with the Kahr CM380. This is the box that it comes in. Comes with all this nice paperwork and stuff. This happens to have an extra mag. It comes with one mag. I got an extra mag for it. Okay. Okay, so there we go. So here it is. It's a pretty small gun. It's smaller than the Glock. It's about the same size as the Taurus or the LCP or the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. It's in that size range. This is stainless steel. It's got a stainless steel slide and magazine. It's 6+1 rounds. It's got a the trigger. Watch what happens to my finger. See how my finger gets pushed down into the trigger guard? I find that uncomfortable. But hey, that's the way this is. Now, to take this, oh yeah, let me show you the sights on here because they're kind of interesting. Show off the sight better. There you go. You can see the front sight is a light gathering sight, so it's pretty bright. It gets brighter with more light, but the camera, of course, dims it down. I think it'll look better on the computer. But it's got that one stripe on the rear and the orange dot on the front. And you can see how that works right here. It's light gathering. Okay, so so it's a sweet little pistol. It's got very simple, it's got a pretty heavy spring. Let's see. Okay, here's the magazine release, and it pops out. Okay, I'll lock it open. Okay, so there you go. Now, how do you take this puppy apart? There's not a lot to say about it. It's just a simple 380. My opinion is Kahr makes a great firearm. They were the first to jump into the lightweight, high-quality, small gun for carry. That was the whole thing. I don't know if anyone know who Reverend Sung Young Moon is? Well, his son, actually, was into guns. And he went through engineering school and everything else, but his problem was he couldn't find a carry gun that he felt comfortable with. And he designed the Kahr handgun. And he went to Glock and got them. He got permission to use their safety system, their Glock trigger safety system, and he designed it around that safe action. He made a deal with them. He wouldn't do a double stack magazine, and he wouldn't use their trigger safety, just the safety system. So that's how Kahr came about. The first one was the PM 9mm. Then he made the CW9, which was a little cheaper. The P380, which was like a $700 or $800 gun. Then they made the one for a little less money, the CW. But as innovators as they were, and they were the first ones out there, they came up with Slim is Sexy campaign, and they brought back these pistols, these small caliber pistols. When they proved there was a market, everybody started jumping into it. And somehow Kahr they just can't, for a while they were staying ahead of the game, but I don't know what happened. They don't seem to be out there. People don't know who they are, or they don't care anymore. But I happen to like Kahr. I think it makes a good gun. I just don't like the trigger on this. Now, how do you take it apart? Kahr has two witness marks on the gun. One is right here on the slide, and one is right here on the frame. So what you're going to do is you're going to line those two witness marks up like that, and then from the other side you're going to push on this pin. Let's see if I can just do it with finger strength. Yeah. Okay, so I can't get it with just my fingers. I need to use a punch, and you can see how that just came out. You have to pull the trigger to release it, just like the regular Glocks. Pull the spring out, lift and pull out the slide. There we go. And it's as simple as that. And you can see it looks just like a Glock inside. You had to pull the trigger like a Glock. It's got a double spring. Now, cleaning this gun. Take some strike hold. I use strike hold. It's a CLP. Cleaner, lubricant, protector. You use this. You don't have to lubricate your gun afterwards. You just clean it thoroughly with this. It'll protect your gun and keep it lubricated. It dries like a little Teflon finish. If you don't know what this is, go look at one of my videos on it. I have like 2 of them on this particular product. I will show you how to lubricate your gun if you're using the old stuff. So I'm just going to spray some of this cleaner right on this cloth. I'm going to wipe down all the big areas with it. Okay. Now, to get into the smaller areas, I'm going to put the stick on it. I'm going to get the slots on the slide. You always have to get the slots on the slide. That's where metal-to-metal contact comes into. Get all my little slots. Very important is you make sure you clean your bolt face or the battery. And not only do you clean, look what just came out of the battery. So this guy kept his gun clean, but he never cleaned the battery. A lot of people miss it. They don't realize that this is a part of the gun that you actually have to spend time cleaning. And if you don't, this is the area that most likely will cause you a jam, okay? Especially behind, look at all that. That's especially behind the extractor, because if your extractor, there's dirt behind it, you can end up following right over around. And if that happens, worst case scenario is you get a jam. Really bad scenario is you leave a live round in the gun. Someone pulls the slide back, thinks it's empty because it didn't extract, pulls the trigger, and it goes off. This gun came in, it looked like it was unfired. It had the tag on it and everything. This gun's been fired a lot. See? You can be fooled at a condition of a gun when it comes in, because it's in a box with all the original tags. It looks pretty clean. But then when you take it apart, there's areas that obviously he couldn't clean it without taking it apart, and he didn't bother taking it apart. Make sure I get the ramps, top and bottom, very important. Double check the chamber. I'm going to make sure the chamber is really clean. Yep. Okay. Guide rod. Springs. Okay, now the frame. Now this frame is all polymer. And it does have long guide rails. So this stuff loves polymer. So I'm not afraid to use it on here. But if you're using regular gun cleaner, you have to deactivate the cleaner. Because if you don't, it's going to mess up this polymer. So that's that hoppies or whatever. So when you're done cleaning it, you have to deactivate it by hitting everything with oil. That doesn't mean you over-oil the gun. That just means any place that you touched with cleaner, you have to touch with oil. And that's why I like this better than oil, especially on the newer polymer guns. If you do not hit it with oil, what happens to the polymer? You ever see a polymer gun and it has those white stains on it? That's because someone cleaned their gun with hoppies or traditional cleaner. They wiped it off. But after a few weeks of it sitting on the gun, it actually bleached it out. Okay? So there we go. One last place I want to make sure I get clean is I'm going to take and get underneath those feeding fingers. Okay, so here we go. We're done with the cleaning. Now oil. To lubricate this firearm, 3 drops of oil. We don't want to over oil it. So we don't put oil directly onto the gun. We put it on a cloth, and I'm going to put it on this stick, and I'm going to go up and down the slots on the slide, which gets metal-to-metal contact, both directions 3 times. Up, down, up, down, up, down on both sides. Okay? Now I'm just going to wipe. That's the only place that actually needs lubricant. So the rest of the gun just needs to be wiped down to deactivate the cleaner. Okay, now I used strike hold on this gun, the outside, so I'm not going to wipe it down with cleaner, but if you used cleaner on the outside of this, you'd wipe down this whole gun. Okay, so that's all that's to do there. Now we're going to do the same process on here. I'm going to get the slide rails, even though they're plastic. Now I'm going to get the whole everything I touched with gun cleaner. Look at all the dirt that's coming out of here. Wow. And then I'm going to do the inside. I'm going to go down and I'm going to mop out the magazine well. Okay. But I just hit that with strike hold. But you do the same thing. Like I said, look at all that dirt. You do the same thing with oil. That wherever you touched it with the cleaner, you touch it with oil. Unless you're using this stuff, then in that case, we're done. Okay, now let's put this puppy back together again. One side has a curly Q out, so that's got to go in. The curly Q, the full curly Q. There we go. See that? So the spring has to be put on with the open end back. Otherwise, it'll come through the front. Then you slide this on here like this, on like so. Once the barrel's on, you put this in to lock the barrel in place. And line this up like that. Then you match up your witness marks and you can push it down. And let's do a function check. There we go. And there we have it. The Kahr CW380. The basics, field strip, cleaned, lubed, and reassembled. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was helpful. Please like and subscribe. And until next time. Thanks for joining me with the Kahr CW380. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. And I'll see you soon.